The NASCAR veteran capturing an emotional win in Las Vegas, his first since that devastating loss. Hamlin dedicating the moment to his dad and
Denny Hamlin won in Las Vegas, but this was not just another victory. Just months ago, his life was shaken by a devastating loss. What happened between that moment and this win changes everything, and the way he finished this race tells a much deeper story, because this was never just about racing. Just a few months earlier, Hamlin's life had been shaken by a devastating tragedy. A house fire in December took the life of his father, a man who had been a constant presence throughout his journey in racing. His mother survived but was injured, and the emotional toll on the entire family was immense. For a driver who had built his career on composure and precision, this was something no amount of experience could prepare him for. Racing suddenly felt different. The noise, the speed, the pressure, all of it existed in a new context. In the weeks that followed, Hamlin did what elite competitors often do. He showed up, he raced, he performed, but there was a visible shift. The sharpness was still there, the instincts were still intact, but something was missing. The wins that once came through calculated aggression and confidence just would not materialize. It was not about skill. It was not about equipment. It was about the mental and emotional space he was operating in. Las Vegas became the turning point. From the moment the weekend began, there was a different tone around Hamlin and his team. Not overly emotional, not dramatic, just focused, quietly determined. This was not about forcing a storybook moment. It was about doing the job the right way, one lap at a time, without letting the weight of everything else interfere. When the green flag dropped, Hamlin looked like himself again. Smooth on entry, precise on exit, managing tires, controlling pace, and staying exactly where he needed to be as the race unfolded. He was not the flashiest car on the track early, but that is often how Hamlin operates when he is at his best. He studies, he waits, he positions himself for when it matters most. As the race moved into its later stages, the intensity began to rise. Restarts became more aggressive. Track position became more valuable. Drivers started taking risks that could either win them the race or cost them everything. And right in the middle of it, Hamlin remained composed. This is where experience separates contenders from champions. While others pushed too hard and lost ground, Hamlin stayed disciplined. He knew exactly when to attack and when to hold back. Each move felt deliberate, each decision carried purpose, and slowly, almost quietly, he put himself in position to take control. The final stretch of the race was not just about speed, it was about execution under pressure. Every corner mattered, every restart carried risk, and every mistake would be magnified. Hamlin did not make those mistakes. When the opportunity came, he took it. He surged forward, cleared his competition, and never looked back. The final laps were a masterclass in control. No overdriving, no panic, just a veteran driver closing out a race the way only a few in the sport truly can. And then it happened. The checkered flag waved. At first, it looked like any other win. The car crossed the line. The team celebrated. The radio filled with excitement. But then the reality of the moment started to sink in. This was not just another win. This was his first victory since losing his father. In that instant, everything changed. The celebration was still there, but it carried a different kind of energy. There was pride, but also pain. There was relief, but also reflection. For Hamlin, this was not just about beating the field. It was about honoring something far bigger than racing. As he climbed out of the car, the emotion was visible, not overwhelming, not out of control, but present, real. The kind of emotion that does not need to be explained because everyone can feel it. He dedicated the win to his father. That moment alone defined the entire race. For years, Hamlin's career has been built on results, statistics, and championships. But this was something different. This was personal. This was about family, loss, and resilience. It was about showing up when everything inside you might be telling you to step away. What made the moment even more powerful was the presence of his mother. Still recovering from the injuries she sustained in the same fire, she was there to witness it, to see her son win, to see him carry forward in a moment that could have easily broken him. That is what made this victory stand out. It was not just about performance, it was about perspective. In racing, wins are often measured in numbers, laps led, margins of victory, points gained, but sometimes a win means something that cannot be measured. This was one of those times. For Hamlin's team, this victory carried its own significance. They had stood behind him through everything, through the uncertainty, through the emotional weight, through the weeks where results did not reflect the effort being put in. And now, they had delivered when it mattered most. It reinforced something important. Even at the highest level of motorsports, where everything is driven by data and performance, the human element still matters. The mindset of the driver, the emotional state, the ability to process and respond to life outside the car. Hamlin's win in Las Vegas was a reminder of that. It also sent a message to the rest of the field. He is still here. Despite everything he has gone through, despite the challenges and the setbacks, he is still capable of executing at the highest level. He is still a threat, and perhaps more importantly, he is still evolving. There is a different kind of strength that comes from adversity. It does not always show up immediately. It does not always translate into instant results. But when it does surface, it can redefine a competitor. That is what this race felt like. Not just a win, but a reintroduction. As the season moves forward, this victory could become a defining point, not just in terms of standings or momentum, but in terms of identity. It shifts the narrative. It changes the conversation. Instead of asking whether Hamlin can still compete at the highest level, the focus now turns to how far he can go. Because if he can deliver this kind of performance under these circumstances, what happens when everything starts to settle? What happens when the emotional weight becomes something he has learned to carry rather than something he is still processing? That is where things get interesting. For fans, this is the kind of story that transcends the sport. It is not just about racing. It is about resilience. It is about showing up when it is hard. It is about finding a way forward when everything behind you feels heavy. Hamlin did not just win a race, he proved something. He proved that even in the middle of personal loss, even in the face of adversity, it is possible to rise to the moment. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but with purpose. And that is what makes this victory one of the most meaningful of his career. As the celebrations began to settle and the reality of the moment fully set in, one thing became clear. This was not the end of a story. It was the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter shaped by experience, by loss, by perspective. And if this race was any indication, it is a chapter that could redefine what the rest of his career looks like. Because sometimes, the most powerful performances are not the ones where everything goes right. They are the ones where everything has gone wrong, and you still find a way to win. That is exactly what Denny Hamlin did in Las Vegas, and that is why this victory will be remembered for a long time.